afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the April Wellness Webinar. I'm Laura Maloof Miller. I'm a Senior Health Education Specialist with HealthNet, and you obviously heard Kristen Kayla, Health Promotion Consultant with HealthNet. She's also on the line to assist. Just a couple of housekeeping items to review before we begin. All of the participants have been muted upon entering the webinar, and that helps us to avoid any background noise. If you want to change your audio settings, you click on the join audio icon and at the end of the webinar, there's going to be a quick 4-question anonymous survey. All right, and if you're having any technical difficulties, feel free to chat directly to Kristen, and all you need to do is open the chat box. You just simply hover over the Zoom toolbar at the top of the screen. You're going to see a chat box icon there. Simply click on that icon and it should appear. So Kristen's going to receive your messages in real time. So she'll respond to your message in the order that she receives them. And if you happen to be attending this webinar in a conference room, or if you used a single webinar access with your team, please chat that number of attendees to Kristen. That way we can get a more accurate number on attendance. Today's topic: sleep well and live fully awake. The information provided in this presentation is intended solely for the general information of the audience. You know this is not medical advice and shall not replace consultation with your physician or other qualified health provider. If you have any health-related questions or problems, please seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider. So we know that good sleep promotes good health. Sleep represents the 1/3 of our life, and it has a tremendous impact on how we live, function, and perform during the other 2/3 of our lives. So this is what I'm going to be covering today: the importance of sleep, the epidemic of insufficient sleep. We'll go over some basic sleep frequently asked questions, the benefits of sleep, common sleep disorders, how sleep affects our health. We'll take a look at what things might be keeping you up. And of course, I'm going to provide some helpful tips on how to get those Z's. Can you relate to this? If this is you, hopefully you'll get some tips today that may be helpful. Now, staying up late online seems to be one of the fastest growing threats to good sleep. And it's not just the internet. During the height of the pandemic, we were watching a lot of Netflix and many other ways of streaming shows and movies. Maybe we could learn something from the animal kingdom. Did you happen to know that sea otters, they hold hands when they sleep so they don't drift away from each other? That is so cute. Whales and dolphins, they literally fall half asleep. So each side of their brain takes turns. That way they can come up for air. And the world's tallest animals, those are also one of the most sleep deprived. These majestic creatures, they only sleep 30 minutes a day, and that is in 5-minute intervals. And the albatross. Now, this seabird spends most of its life in the air hunting for food, so there isn't much time to snooze. That's why they have learned how to sleep while flying. So these birds practice dynamic soaring, and that allows them to sleep as they ride the wind currents across the oceans. Interesting to note, we are the only mammals that willingly delay sleep. Here are some other sleep facts. Now, good quality sleep has 3 elements. Duration, so that's the length of sleep. Now, this should be sufficient for the sleeper to be rested and alert the following day. Continuity, sleep periods should be seamless without fragmentation. And depth, sleep should be deep enough to be restorative. Now, sporadic changes in sleep and dreaming, that's normal. Sleep naturally responds to environmental fluctuation and also traumatic experiences, which can lead to severe changes in sleep patterns, including altered dream content or more nightmares. Now, sleep supports the formation of emotional memories throughout all the stages that compose memory processing. On the contrary, sleep loss deteriorates both the encoding of emotional information and the emotional memory consolidation processes. Now, most sleep disorders, they are actually preventable or at least treatable, yet less than 1/3 of sufferers seek professional help. Regular sleepers have a better mood, better psychomotor performance, increased time in REM or rapid eye movement sleep, and slow wave sleep. Sleep is a biological requirement for human life, right alongside food, water, and air. Now, because sleep is involved in so many physiologic systems, insufficient sleep duration and poor sleep quality have been associated with several adverse health outcomes, including weight gain and obesity, diabetes and metabolism, inflammation, cardiovascular disease, neurocognitive functioning, and mental health. Let's do a quick poll. How many Americans have sleep-related problems? Let me go ahead and launch this. Give you a couple seconds to fill that in. Which one do you think it is? How many Americans have sleep-related problems? All right, answers are still coming in. Okay, here goes the answer. You are correct. That is B. So it's estimated that sleep-related problems, whoops, let me get rid of this one. Sleep-related problems affect 50 to 70 million Americans of all ages and socioeconomic classes. Sleep disorders are common in both men and women. However, important disparities in prevalence and severity of sleep disorders have been identified in minorities and underserved populations. More than 50 million Americans already suffer from over 80 different sleep disorders, and another 20 to 30 million suffer intermittent sleep problems each year. At least 25 million Americans, that's 1 in 5 adults, suffer from sleep apnea. This is a serious sleep and breathing condition that has been linked to hypertension, cognitive impairment, heart disease, and stroke. Now, despite the high prevalence of sleep disorders, the overwhelming majority of sufferers remain undiagnosed and untreated, creating unnecessary public health and safety problems, as well as increased healthcare expenses. Now, national surveys show that more than 60% of adults have never been asked about the quality of their sleep by a physician, and fewer than 20% ever initiate such a discussion. I know you're wondering, Laura, come on, really? How bad could this possibly be? Well, sleep deprivation consequences include the following. You're super drowsy. You are also irritable, so you get angry. A fog that just won't lift. You have trouble concentrating. You kind of miss steps, like you're driving and you don't actually remember how you got to where you just arrived to. You have difficulty putting thoughts into memory. You slow down your thought processes and your reaction time. You have difficult focusing, as well as taking in new information. So you may even have trouble keeping your eyes open during a meeting. Additionally, people are chronically sleep deprived as a result of demanding lifestyles and a lack of education about the impact of sleep loss. Now, sleepiness has been identified as a cause of a growing number of on-the-job accidents, automobile crashes, and transportation tragedies. True or false? Your brain shuts down during sleep. Let me go to the next one. Here we go. What do you think? True or false? Your brain shuts down during sleep. All right. And you don't have to participate in these polls. These are optional, just so that you know. All right, but thanks for those who are. And here we go. Yes, you are correct. That is false. The brain remains active during sleep. Its patterns of activity, now they do change during the different sleep stages. And in rapid eye movement or REM sleep, brain activity actually ramps up to a level that's near or similar to when you're awake. Far from shutting down, shifts in brain activity during sleep are believed to be part of why sleep is critical to effective thinking, memory, and emotional processing. Now let's review some frequently asked questions about sleep. What does healthy sleep look like? Well, healthy sleep is sleep which restores and energizes a person so that they feel wide awake, dynamic, and energetic all day long. Now, you know how health and disease are opposites. So, and therefore, when disease or disorder of sleep does exist, sleep investigation is needed to identify and treat it. Now, sleep disorders, those are not rare, and they can cause serious problems if left untreated. How many hours of sleep should a person get? Well, the optimal sleep duration requirement is largely determined by heredity. However, large studies or large surveys show the average sleep duration for an adult is generally about 7 to 8 hours. Can you really get a sleep deficit? Yes. Chronic sleep deficits are common, and they occur when a person does not obtain the needed amount of sleep on a permanent basis. Now, there are numerous causes for this, things like shift work and other environmental demands. Maybe it's occupational, or maybe it's family responsibilities, such as caregiving for children or elderly, a desire to have a social life, recreation. It could be a medical issue, such as a sleep disorder that impairs sleep and increase the nighttime wakefulness. Also, the modern 24-hour lifestyle expectation. What happens if you don't dream while you sleep? Well, dreaming is a mental activity that occurs in sleep and has been linked to physiology. Now, disturbed sleep physiology due to disorders of sleep or wakefulness has been shown to affect dream recall and content. Now, if you're healthy, absence of recall of dreams might suggest that your sleep is continuous. It's free of interruptions, and you're in an emotionally stable state during wakefulness. Most of us dream every night. It is normal not to remember our dreams. As a side note, I have 3 sisters. One of them always has horrible dreams. Her dreams sometimes have her waking up crying. Now, I have another one of my sisters who's learned to control her dreams. She realizes she's in a dream and then she changes it. And then my twin sister and I, we shared a room growing up. Apparently, my family would say that we would talk to each other in our sleep. It must be a twin thing. Now, what difference could an extra hour of sleep make in your life? Maybe quite a lot, experts say. Studies show that the gap between getting just enough sleep and getting too little sleep may affect your health, mood, and weight. That's just to name a few. So if we start at the top of the circle, we know that better sleep equals a better mood equals increased energy. Now, there is some truth to the old saying, getting up on the right side of the bed. It has nothing to do with which side of the bed you roll out of, but sleeping can lead to good moods. And really, it makes sense. If you sleep well, you wake up feeling rested. And that's when your energy is up. And then you have life's little challenges won't annoy you as much. In circles 2 and 3, sleeping can increase productivity, better decision-making, and sharper concentration. We know that sleep has been linked to improved concentration and higher cognitive function, both of which can help you be successful at work. But one restless night can leave you feeling frazzled, making it more likely that you'll make mistakes that a pot of coffee won't be able to fix. Speaking of coffee, the more tired you feel, the more likely you are to reach for that afternoon cup. And while that may seem to fix the afternoon crash, the extra caffeine late in the day, that could set you up for another sleepless night. If you're feeling forgetful, while we sleep, our brains process and consolidate our memories from the day. Without enough sleep, these memories are not stored correctly and can be lost. And as we know, a good night of sleep helps you to manage stress. It's also good for improved physical health, and gaining those extra Z's can help prevent weight gain. Now, racking up 8 full hours of sleep isn't going to result in losing the pounds by itself. However, it can help your body from packing on the pounds. If you don't get enough sleep, your body produces a hormone that boosts your appetite. Okay, so you're going to get hungry. Your body also decreases the production of leptin. That's a hormone that tells you you're full. Okay, so you put both of them together, and that's a dangerous combination for late night snacking. And we know that people who are tired are just plain hungrier. Well, what do you think they crave? They crave the high fat and high calorie foods specifically. We know that sleep affects all types of exercise performance. The recovery that takes place during sleep helps with eye-hand coordination, reaction time, and muscle repair. Plus, depriving yourself of sleep can have a negative impact on strength and power. Also, sleep can boost your immune system. When your body gets the sleep it needs, your immune cells and proteins get the rest that they need to fight off whatever comes their way, things like colds and the flu. And according to the sleep specialist at the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, proper sleep can make vaccines more effective. Now, there are many different types of sleep disorders. However, I'm going to just review the 4 that you see here. Insomnia. Now, that is a common sleep disorder that can make it hard to fall asleep, stay asleep, or cause you to wake up too early and not be able to get back to sleep. Insomnia can sap not only your energy level and mood, but also your health, your work performance, and your quality of life. You may have insomnia if you have difficulty falling or staying asleep, early awakenings, inability to get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep every night, have symptoms of fatigue, sleepiness, and/or difficulties with attention and concentration the next day. As we get older, the slow wave sleep or deep sleep decreases, which means sleep gets lighter. Therefore, insomnia may worsen with age. It can also start in about 10 to 15% of postmenopausal women. Now, sleeping pills do have a role in insomnia. However, they are not the only treatment. The treatment of insomnia should include cognitive behavioral therapy alone or in conjunction with sleeping pills. Now, sleep apnea is a potentially serious sleep disorder in which breathing repeatedly stops and starts. If you snore loudly and you feel tired even after a full night of sleep, you may have sleep apnea. There are 3 different types. Obstructive sleep apnea. This is the more common one that occurs when the throat muscles relax. Central sleep apnea. This occurs when your brain doesn't send the proper signals to the muscles that control breathing. And complex sleep apnea. That occurs when someone has both the obstructive sleep apnea and central sleep apnea. Now, if you think you might have sleep apnea, see your doctor. Treatment can ease your symptoms and might help prevent heart problems and other complications. Restless leg syndrome. Now, this is a type of sleep movement disorder. It's a condition that causes an uncontrollable urge to move your legs, usually because of an uncomfortable sensation. Now, it typically happens in the evening or nighttime hours when you're sleeping or lying down. Now, moving eases the unpleasant feeling temporarily. This can begin at any age and generally worsens as you age. It can disrupt sleep, which interferes with daily activities. Unfortunately, I get this. I get restless leg syndrome when I am overtired. So that's the last thing I want. I just want to go to sleep. I'm extra tired and I get this feeling that I need to move my legs. Narcolepsy. This is a chronic sleep disorder characterized by overwhelmingly daytime drowsiness and sudden attacks of sleep. Now, people with narcolepsy often find it difficult to stay awake for long periods of time, regardless of the circumstances. Now, narcolepsy can cause serious disruptions in your daily routine. Growing up, we actually had a neighbor that had narcolepsy. It was so debilitating, he couldn't keep a job. Now, if you have insomnia on a regular basis, can't I just take the antihistamines? Well, antihistamines, they do cause drowsiness, which might help you fall asleep for a few nights, but routine use for insomnia is not recommended. Most over-the-counter sleep aids are going to contain the antihistamines. So these products are intended to be used only for 2 or 3 nights, like maybe when stress or you're traveling, any other disruptions that keep you awake. I don't know about you, but when I travel, I never can sleep in the first night in the hotel. Now, tolerance to these sedative effects can develop quickly. So as a result, the longer you take them, the less likely they're going to make you sleepy. And some over-the-counter sleep aids are not recommended for people who have certain health conditions such as asthma or COPD or severe liver disease. And keep in mind, these type of sleep aids are not recommended for women who are pregnant or breastfeeding. It's best to work with your doctor if you have insomnia to find the best treatment for you. Here we go, true or false? If it takes you less than 5 minutes to fall asleep, you're probably sleep deprived. Here we go, launch the poll here, true or false? If it takes you less than 5 minutes to fall asleep at night, you're probably sleep deprived. All right, what do you think the answer is? Okay, here we go. Kristen, we have a bunch of smarty pants on the line today. That is absolutely, it's actually true. Okay, so maybe you're not smarty pantses. I don't really know. If it takes you less than 5 minutes to fall asleep, you're probably sleep deprived. That is actually true. Ideally, it should take you about 10 to 15 minutes before falling asleep. All right. Let's talk about how lack of sleep impacts our physical and mental health. Now, a well-known study by researchers at the University of North Texas found that people with insomnia are 10 times more likely to develop a form of depression and 17 times more likely to have anxiety than those who have a healthy sleep. But which came first, the chicken or the egg? Does depression cause sleep problems? Or do sleep problems contribute to depression? The answer is both may be the case. So research shows that by treating both simultaneously, doctors have a better shot at improving a patient's sleep quality, mood, and overall quality of life. More than 1 in 3 American adults say they don't get 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Now, while this may be fine for a day or two, studies show that short sleep duration and poor sleep quality associated with high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, and atherosclerosis. That's the hardening of the arteries. And habitual short sleep increases the chance of cardiovascular events. Not getting enough restful sleep is also correlated with poor diet and weight gain. A study of 495 participants found an association between poor sleep quality, increased food intake, and a lower consumption of whole grains. Now, this is especially true for children and adolescents who need more sleep than adults. Not getting enough sleep may affect that part of the brain that controls hunger. Remember, we talked about that. Sleepy people are hungrier. Doctors and scientists have known for decades that insufficient sleep affects the body's hormone levels and ability to regulate and metabolize glucose. That means if you're excessively sleepy, you could be at higher risk for weight gain and type 2 diabetes. Now, why would lack of sleep affect hormones and glucose metabolism? Well, part of the answer may lie in the slow wave sleep. When a person enters slow wave or deep sleep, nervous system activity goes down. The brain uses less glucose. And other changes occur, such as an increase in growth hormone and a decrease in the stress hormone cortisol. For this reason, a sufficient amount of deep sleep is thought to be very important in the regulation of glucose in the body. In lab studies, sleep restriction is associated with inflammation, and preliminary research suggests that it may be true in the general population. It's important because inflammatory processes can elevate risk for cardiovascular disease. And perhaps unsurprisingly, a growing body of research demonstrates a correlation between sleep disorders and cardiovascular health. People with common sleep disorders, such as obstructive sleep apnea or insomnia, are far more likely to have heart arrhythmias. That's a irregular beat, plaque buildup, heart failure, and coronary artery disease than the general public. And lastly, insomnia is linked to high blood pressure and heart disease. Let's take a look at how exercise, alcohol, and caffeine affect sleep. Physical exercise is considered an effective approach to improve sleep. Some studies show that adolescents who are physically active are more likely to experience good sleep. Likewise, among adult patients with obstructive sleep apnea, that's when the soft tissues, the tongue gets in the way, when physical exercise was the sole intervention, it was associated with improved sleep outcomes. And the National Sleep Foundation has amended its sleep recommendations to encourage exercise without any caveat as to the time of day, as long as it does not interfere with sleep duration. Alcohol is a sedative, which can induce sleep. However, it will cause more fragmented sleep and awakenings during the night. In addition, alcohol can worsen obstructive sleep apnea. Caffeine is a central nervous stimulator. It prolongs sleep, reduces total sleep time, sleep efficiency, and it worsens perceived sleep quality. Now, slow wave sleep is typically reduced, whereas wakefulness and arousal are increased. When it comes to the relationship between caffeine intake and sleep, it has been reported that older adults' sleep may be more sensitive to caffeine than younger adults. True or false? Turning up the radio, opening the window, or turning on the air conditioner are effective ways to stay awake when driving. Launching the poll. That's going to be true or false. True or false. Turning up the radio, opening a window, or turning on the air conditioner are effective ways to stay awake when you are driving. All right. In the poll here, that is going to be false. Okay, we know that drowsy driving is extremely dangerous. And these tricks are ineffective, especially worrisome if it's going to keep a sleepy driver behind the wheel. If you're feeling tired while driving, the best and safest thing to do is pull off the road into a safe area where you can nap for 15 to 30 minutes or simply stop for the night. You know, those caffeinated drinks, now they may help for a short period, but it can take time for the caffeine to kick in. Even then, it's really risky to rely on caffeine to keep you alert when driving. The best way to deal with drowsy driving is to prevent it in the first place by getting a good night's sleep before your trip. When in doubt, do not drive if you're at all sleepy, because the consequences, as we know, can be life-threatening to you and others on the road. Now, up to 6,000 fatal crashes each year may be caused to drowsy drivers. Now, who's most likely to drive drowsy? That's going to be your commercial drivers. That can be people who have shift work. Maybe they had the night shift, or maybe they did a double, extra long shift. Drivers with untreated sleep disorders, and drivers who use medication with sleepiness as a side effect. Now, this is not just prescription medication. A lot of over-the-counter medications can make you sleepy as well. Think about allergy medications. A lot of times those can make you sleepy. Let's take a look at what might be keeping you up. My bed is a magical place where I suddenly remember everything I was supposed to do. Okay, do you know what you're supposed to do when this happens? You're supposed to write it down, record it on your phone, put it away. It'll be there for you when you need it. True or false? Stress, physical and mental illness, living or sleeping arrangements, family history, shift work, diet, and exercise do not contribute to insomnia. All right, let me launch my poll. Okay, let me see, I can't find it. Okay, whoop, sorry, stop sharing. There we go. Waiting on Laura, we're just waiting on Laura. Okay, here we go. All right, give it your best shot. Stress, physical or mental illness, living or sleeping arrangements, family history, shift work, diet, and exercise do not contribute to insomnia. All right. Winner, chicken dinner. You knew this one. Absolutely, you are correct. They sure do. All of those things absolutely affect your sleep and can contribute to insomnia. All right. What about sleep and COVID-19? Well, the two main contributors to potential worsening of sleep are changes in your stress level and changes in your sleep behaviors. So the pandemic and when we had to shelter in place certainly increased our stress levels. And in general, worry and anxiety tend to have a negative impact on sleep. Now, distraction and other strategies that people use to deal with stress during the day, well, those aren't as helpful when you try to go to bed at night. Those intrusive thoughts, it makes it difficult to fall asleep initially or return to sleep if you are awakened in the middle of the night. But there are also people who sleep better now than before the pandemic. Working from home allows them to maintain a more balanced life and hence less stress and better sleep. For example, maybe they're taking more breaks and maybe having more interactions with the people that they live with. Another example is people who had not given themselves enough time to sleep. Maybe they had an early morning commute. Well, now they can. However, shelter in place can also lead some people to alter the timing and duration of sleep in ways that can be detrimental to sleep. For example, they might be less regular when they wake up, or they're going to sleep in. Maybe they're taking long naps during the day. So these behaviors can have a negative effect on the biological clock that regulate sleep and wakefulness and therefore lead to sleeping problems. We also know that sleep is adversely affected not only in patients, but also in the frontline workers. Those folks directly involved in caring for COVID-19 patients. Sleep and impaired sleep may affect their judgment in patient care. Also, sleep dysfunction is very common in patients admitted to the ICU. Now, of course, this is related to many different factors, but it's seen more severely in COVID-19 ICU patients. Now, if you've ever been a patient in the hospital, you know it's really hard to get sleep under normal circumstances. Here we go. You tuck yourself into bed, and then it happens. The mind starts swirling with anxiety, all those anxious thoughts. These feelings of worry, nervousness, and unease is the exact opposite of what you need to fall asleep. My husband and I, we don't talk about Bruno, my mother-in-law, or our finances when we're trying to fall asleep. Practice good sleep hygiene. I've got some tips on the next few slides. Limit that screen time. Not only does the blue light keep your mind awake, what you're watching can actually keep you up. Avoid the news right before bed. Those stories may stimulate your nervous system. Do a body scan before bed. Simply bring your attention to each part of your body. Feel any sensations like hot, cold, tightness, or pain. Take some deep breaths, stretch, and focus on relaxing. Here's some helpful tips. This is what common sleep disruptors, that glass of wine after dinner. Now, many people think the nightcap is just the thing to help you relax and fall asleep, but it can backfire. As the body breaks it down, it can have a stimulating effect, keeping you from the deeper stages of sleep and even causing you to wake often throughout the night. Your smartphone, the light given off from smartphones, laptops, and TVs, they can mess with your body's production of melatonin. That's a hormone that helps you fall asleep at night. Your bedtime snack. Now, a small snack at night is fine, but not a lot of carbohydrates like chips or pretzels. Your blood sugar rises, then insulin's released into the bloodstream, and then the glucose drops, and then hormones like cortisol, which is a stress hormone, that's released. Okay, then the seesawing back and forth, it can make it really hard to fall and stay asleep. Sleeping in, you got to be consistent with your bedtime and your wake time. Sleeping in can upset the natural circadian rhythm. The bedroom's temperature. Studies show that a room temperature of below 65, ooh, I love that, and above 75 affect sleep cycles. So you got to keep it somewhere in the middle there. Your mattress, a bad mattress or pillow that doesn't support your body, that spells bad news for sleep. You should be buying a mattress about every 8 years or as needed. Life changes, like maybe a car accident or a back injury, that can change your mattress needs. Watching the clock. So keep the clocks out of sight so that you're not tempted to look at them. Clock watching causes stress, and it makes it harder for you to go back to sleep if you wake up during the night. So here's some tips for a good night of sleep. Create that fixed bedtime and wake time, even on the weekends. You can use a sleep schedule. Try to stick to it for at least 30 days. Now, if you're in the habit of taking an afternoon siesta, do not exceed more than 45 minutes of daytime sleep. Avoid the excess alcohol 4 hours before bedtime, and don't smoke. In cigarette smoke, that is also a stimulator. It dilates the blood vessels, and it's also a stimulator in the cigarette smoke. Avoid caffeine 6 hours before bedtime. This includes coffee, tea, and mini sodas, as well as my favorite, chocolate. You could try a soothing decaffeinated calming tea like chamomile. Avoid that heavy, spicy, or sugary foods 4 hours before bedtime. Anything that might make you feel full or even give you heartburn. exercise regularly. So just decide when to do it. If it's way too activating, of course, you don't want to do that right before bed. Use comfortable bedding. Find a comfortable temperature setting for sleeping and keeping your room well ventilated. If you can, block out any distracting noise and eliminate as much light as possible. Reserve the bedroom for sleep and sex. Don't use the bedroom as an office, a workroom, or a recreation room. Now, relaxation. That's a process that decreases wear and tear of life's challenges on your mind and body. We're always faced with numerous responsibilities and tasks or demands of an illness. Relaxation techniques may not be a priority in your life when all this is going on. However, practicing relaxation techniques has many benefits. It slows your heart rate. It lowers your blood pressure, improves digestion, reduces active stress hormones, reduces muscle tension and chronic pain. And of course, it improves sleep quality. Almost everyone can benefit from relaxation techniques. Some common relaxation techniques are listed here on this slide. You just choose the ones that best fit your needs. It's likely your smartphone is on your nightstand. It's within arm's reach for the late night text, a ping, or an email. 95% of us use electronics during the week right before bedtime. Now, countless studies show that using nighttime phone use can disrupt your sleeping pattern. Now, whether you're checking social media, maybe you're playing a game, using a mobile device, that all keeps your brain stimulated and alert. Those are two things you don't want right before you're trying to fall asleep. However, in today's technology-driven society, it's impractical to simply say mobile devices should be banned from the bedroom. So what's a busy professional to do? Well, surprisingly, certain technology can actually promote better night's sleep. Now, the apps and products shown on this slide, these are for informational purposes only. HealthNut is not endorsing any of the apps or the products. There's a plethora of smartphone apps designed to help us fall and stay asleep. Many of these apps offer free, soothing music or relaxation exercises such as guided imagery, meditations, visualization exercises, and progressive muscle relaxation exercises. You may think about using your fitness tracker or a sleep app to track and monitor your sleep patterns. Now, while the accuracy of these trackers is not the gold standard, the data can provide insight into how you're sleeping. If wearing technology to bed isn't your thing, consider using an app such as Sleep Cycle that uses your phone's microphone to pick up on subtle noises such as movement while you sleep. Rather than limit technology, use it in your bedroom. For example, Dodo is a device that projects a soft, gentle, pulsating light onto the ceiling, in which you can synchronize your breath. You inhale as the light expands and you exhale as the light contracts. The goal is to slow your heart rate and gently lull you to sleep. Using nighttime mode, many cell phones, tablets, and other portable electronic devices are equipped with a nighttime mode, and that's much easier on the eyes before bed. Now, if you're having trouble falling asleep from time to time or occasionally waking up throughout the night, that isn't necessarily cause for alarm. However, chronic sleep problems can contribute to numerous health problems and affect your safety. So you should talk with your doctor if you constantly feel tired, regularly have trouble falling asleep, or have trouble staying asleep. Discussing your sleep habits during a wellness exam is just as appropriate as asking questions about diet, exercise, or any new symptoms. It's important not to dismiss sleep problems. However, chronic sleep problems like insomnia are often a symptom or a sign of another problem. Ignoring this sign keeps you from getting the appropriate care that you need. Your healthcare provider may refer you to a sleep specialist who is trained to evaluate individuals for sleep disorders. If you notice that you have trouble sleeping, start keeping a sleep diary. A sleep diary helps identify your normal sleep patterns and sleep habits. Pain is a sleep disturber. So can be chronic conditions, medications, and don't even get me started with menopause. Don't hesitate to talk to your primary care provider or other qualified health professional about these. These next slides are programs that help HealthNet members stay on track with their health. Our members can find wellness programs and other resources when logging into your HealthNet account. And our health risk assessment is called the Real Age Assessment. Be sure to take it and check out our Wellness Center programs. Telephonic support provides at your fingertips. Maybe it's time to explore health coaching. Coaches can help you prioritize your goals, strategize a plan, and support you through your journey. If you have a health concern, HealthNet members can call the nurse advice line to speak with a registered nurse. myStrength has proven tools for mind, body, and spirit. It can help you reduce stress, anxiety, depression, or substance abuse. It has modules, quick videos from mental health professionals, guided meditations, and inspirations on the topics of joy, laughter, positivity, meditation, mindfulness, relaxation, and sleep, and many more. Save money and take advantage of our member discounts. HealthNet members receive discounts on Weight Watchers, chiropractic and acupuncture services, eye care, hearing aids, and even fitness club discounts. If you're not a HealthNet member, please check with your health plan to see if they offer similar programs, services, and discounts. Now, HealthNet offers a variety of online health challenges through our wellness platform. The challenges, stress, steps, and sleep, those are challenges that are ongoing and open to everyone. In addition, for HealthNet members, we have 2 challenges coming up. Live Mindfully is the online health challenge for the month of May. Whether it's work, finances, or relationships that are causing you stress, track your stress daily and help identify your main stressors. We also have Healthier You. Now, this is a 3-month challenge running from May to July. Discover the happiest, healthiest you. Challenge yourself to score 60 to 90 green days. Now, in order to earn a green day, 8 out of 13 factors, such as stress, weight, sleep, exercise, and diet, must be green. For example, achieving 7 hours of sleep earns a green for that sleep factor. Mark your calendars and join us next month. The topic is whole person self-care and resilience. Boy, we've sure been through a lot, from lockdowns to masks to social distancing to mass vaccinations. It's an ever-changing landscape of guidelines, and the concept of normal has become fluid and elusive. The goal of this presentation is to give you some concrete ways to build resilience and endurance with a focus on our whole self. I'll hope you will join me. Thank you so much for your time today. Please remember, if you attended this webinar in a conference room or used a single webinar access with your team, please chat that number of attendees to Kristen. Sleep well, everybody. You may now exit the webinar.